2026 is starting off a little bit rocky in the crypto space. Some altcoins performing well, Bitcoin kind of trending around that $90,000 level. But what we do know is I think a lot of catalysts and factors are setting up for actually a really big year in 2026 for Bitcoin and select altcoins. In this video, I'm going to break down over 20 different tokens, where I would rank them as far as priorities of accumulation in 2026, logic behind that, what are the factors of why I would buy a token, why I wouldn't buy a specific token in 2026. So this is going to be one of the highest alpha videos you see today on YouTube in crypto. Without further ado, let's jump into it. Before we jump into it, guys, be sure to drop down below if you enjoy the content here on In the Game, like the video and subscribe to the channel down below. We have you covered with everything you need in the crypto niche to be able to succeed in the markets in 2026 and beyond. So like and subscribe down below. And of course, a big shout out to our sponsors here on the channel. And today I just want to shout out 𝗕𝗄𝗅. If you're not already utilizing 𝗕𝗄𝗅, I think that prediction markets is one of the best avenues. And looking forward in the future, this is the future of trading. You can trade sports, culture, entertainment, movies, music, mention markets. If you think that someone's going to say certain words during an announcement, a Trump speech, etc., you can literally trade anything in culture right here on 𝗕𝗄𝗅. And we have a special offer down below. If you deposit and trade $10, 𝗕𝗄𝗅 will give you $10 absolutely free. So check out 𝗕𝗄𝗅 down below in the description. And as you guys know, we do prediction market videos and streams here on the channel. So a big shout out to 𝗕𝗄𝗅 and prediction markets in this video. So also let's just dive into the market, into the bulk of the video. Today, we do see a little bit of an uptrend. I mean, Bitcoin's ticking back up. We have drama between the Fed chair and Trump. We're not really here to talk about current events, more so the outlook throughout the rest of the year. So right now, we see metals that are probably in their biggest bull market we've seen in quite some time. I mean, gold, silver, and copper charts literally looking like meme coin charts at this point in time, just absolutely rocketing. We also have stocks and equities doing very well. I mean, the stock market's been in a bull market for probably the last 2 years, 2.5 years, almost straight up. Like my stock portfolio, every time I pull up my different applications, I'm just like, wow, is this thing going to cool down? Because it feels like the last 2 years have just been absolutely nothing but up for the stock market. But we look at crypto, right? And I do want to mark that usually when Saylor does these massive buys at 13,000 Bitcoin today at 1.25 billion at a $91,000 price point, he is pretty good at buying the dips. I mean, he really unloads big clips here whenever the market is suppressed. And I think heading into the middle of the year here, we should see crypto on a good trajectory, given the fact that I think Trump needs to be bullish on crypto around midterms, that approval rating from crypto participants who literally voted for him because he was bullish on crypto. I think he has to get that back up. And also, I just think rotations. We're going to see exhaustion in the metals markets. We're going to see a little bit of a taper off in the stock market. And when that does happen, I think money and liquidity will flow into crypto. But right now, there's just no liquidity from the common user or the common person on the street that is looking at crypto when you see other things absolutely rocketing in the market. So I think it's just a matter of a waiting game for Bitcoin. And I do think actually we will have a pretty good year in Bitcoin and for certain altcoins. We see Tom Lee's Bitmine buying another 2,000 Ethereum or 24,000 Ethereum. Honestly, it's pretty admirable how bullish he is on Ethereum and how much he just keeps buying. But also, we see here, just not, like I said, not everyone wants to get involved with crypto right now. Viewership of crypto-related content on YouTube has dropped to its lowest level since January 2021. I mean, it's pretty interesting. And a lot of people are complaining on Twitter about, you know, their posts aren't getting outreach, but also it's not just Twitter, like YouTube. We are seeing a bottom across crypto interest right now. I don't know how much lower it can go. So for me, I think it's a time to be scouting out what should you be buying in the coming months to prepare yourself for a big rally in the crypto market. I mean, really since August, the last 5-6 months, we've been in a quote unquote bear market. So what should be on your horizon as far as, okay, okay, what altcoins and really should I be buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin? We're going to go through it in this video. As you see here, I've lined up a ton of tokens here. Shout out to my friend Jesus Martinez. He put this website together to rank different tokens. So I'm going to go ahead and utilize his tool in this video for a little bit of a tier list. And basically, I would only be buying things maybe B and up. Like C and down, I would have no interest in adding to my portfolio, and I will, full disclosure, mention if I have a little bit of each of these tokens or not. So number one, and obviously will remain the overall number one on this video, is Bitcoin. I feel like one of the very few channels on YouTube that will tell you straight to your face that if you are a brand new crypto participant, you shouldn't be looking in the meme coin trenches. You should probably add some Bitcoin to your portfolio, because Bitcoin's the one thing you're going to look back on in 10, 15 years and say, wow, adding that to my long-term portfolio really did actually change the trajectory of my financial future. So Bitcoin's number one. I think you need to have Bitcoin allocation. Unless you're literally playing with $100, you should have some Bitcoin in your portfolio. So that is going to absolutely be number one. Ethereum, look, I'm going to put it in the elite category. I don't think that this is like an essential though. Like if you have $5,000 in crypto, let's just say, I'm just throwing out a number, have some Bitcoin, because I think that will just grow and mature over time to a level that you might even underestimate where it could go. But Ethereum, like, I think it's passable. I think there's other altcoins with more upside in the short and the midterm for you to capitalize on. I mean, Ethereum's really been suppressed for quite some time. It will remain in the elite category because all of these applications that you see here on the screen, if you're new to crypto, for example, and you're just maybe looking into investing, all of these coins up top, they basically function in some form or fashion off the back of Ethereum's technology. So you can't really knock Ethereum, and I do hold both of these in my portfolio. XRP. I mean, XRP, how can I put this? Like, I think that you have to probably put this in the elite category because of just the government level that they play at. Like, they are entrenched with governments, banking systems, etc. And I don't hold any XRP. I'm the first person to tell you I'm not XRP army. I have no bias towards or against XRP. Whenever I first got in crypto in 2017, I did really well on XRP. So a big shout out to Ripple at that point in time. That was one of the first coins that I actually learned about. But I do think it's in the elite category. I think there are 99% of coins you could hold that are way worse than XRP. So I'm probably going to put this in the S tier category here to start this list. And on top of that, I will also put Solana. Likely, that's kind of tough. I think there's a pecking order here. And I think that Solana is absolutely in the S tier. And meme coins are coming back right now. You are looking at a climate where Solana is getting more and more usage. We have some of the biggest products from Jupiter, Meteora, Pump Fund, all built on top of Solana. I think that Solana, like it's one of those that if you were to say, Hustle, I'm looking to buy a couple of coins today, and Solana's one of them, I'm not going to be like, no, that's a horrible purchase. Like, I do think Solana is one of those elite tokens in the space. Now we're going to start diving into some that are going to fall in other categories, right? BNB. I absolutely love BNB, but I don't think it's an elite token. I'm going to say it's a strong token. Reason being is CZ and the Binance narrative, it literally comes and goes as he pleases. Whenever CZ feels like it, he comes through and he pumps the crap out of BNB. But whenever he doesn't feel like it, the guy just kind of vanishes. And it's a strong token. And I mean, honestly, it's one that I shouldn't have sold my initial BNBs back in 2017 and 2019, 2020, whenever I was an early Binance US user. But man, BNB, crazy good token. I will say that, you know, just straight up. But at the same time, I hate the fair weather, almost seasonal activity from CZ. But I will say he pumps BNB way better than what Vitalik does for Ethereum or what 𝗘𝗨 does for Solana. So that is something to consider at the same time. However, I do think BNB is a strong token. I absolutely don't think it belongs in the S tier. Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, and Sol, I think are S tier. Like that's where some of the most usage, most institutional adoption in general is flowing, is Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, and Sol. Dogecoin. So I hold 0 Dogecoin, and I know we're going to get to other memes on this list, and it's not pretty where I'm going to put some of these meme coins. But when I look at Dogecoin, I think that, look, it's probably one of the few meme coins that you could put money in and actually have a solid investment thesis for quite some time. It's a meme coin though. So to start, I'm going to put it at the top of B. And that will absolutely be the highest rated meme coin on this whole thing, because I mean, that's probably the only meme coin that I would be willing to stick money into, like a set and forget type of investment, because I think Dogecoin will perform if we do see any sort of resemblance of an alt season from 2021, 2023, 2024. But right now, I'm going to start this category with B, with Dogecoin. Only reason being is BNB is backed by Binance Smart Chain, etc. Dogecoin is just a meme coin. So we're going to put that at B. And by the time this list is over, it could actually come into the end of A, just depending on where I put other tokens here. Cardano. Cardano is an interesting one. Look, one of the first coins I learned about too back in 2017, and I caught the big smart contract run in 2021 with all these different ecosystem apps on Cardano. You can go back to some of my very first crypto videos on this channel, and we were catching a bunch of these Cardano altcoin runners. But I mean, I think Cardano's mid. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the price action on this thing is just absolutely abysmal. Even when the market does tick up, we do see some stuff happen here and there, but over the course of time, like, we could look, and we could say this about any given altcoin. You could look at the yearly chart and it's not great, but I don't know, like, this thing has just not been a crazy good performer in my opinion. Cardano's chain is just, I don't know. I think it's a mid token. And I mean, most people would probably put this as B, like a solid token. But I actually, and I'm not going to be Alex Becker up here and say, oh, Cardano's the worst thing on earth. It's definitely not. But I think it's mid. Cardano to me is very mid. I'm just going to put it there. Next up on the list is Tron. Tron is one of the OGs. I think that, and they're still in the top 20. They're thriving. They're doing their thing. I kind of think it's also, look, I think Tron's mid. There's narratives way fresher than Tron. Like, getting behind someone like Justin Sun and his products with Tron is not a bad idea and could by far perform well on an investment basis, but Tron's mid to me. I don't use Tron. And that's just something that it comes down to usage of product. And we're going to get to some of these that I think are absolutely top tier because of product, because of revenue, because of niche industry, etc. But like Tron and ADA, I think that they're great projects, but I also just think they're kind of mid. You ask the average user if they use Tron or Cardano, they're going to say no. And that's just the truth of it. Chainlink, I'm going to go Chainlink at solid. Controversial maybe, but I think that Chainlink is a better product than it is token. And to be realistic, Chainlink is one of the best overall products in all of crypto, but the price action on this thing isn't really, like, it's just so unpredictable, and so it variates between like complete peaks on the chart, all-time highs at the end of 2024, to just abysmalness. And that happens with all coins in crypto, don't get me wrong, but Chainlink is slow moving. It's a boring token, but it is a strong token. Like, it really is. I think that that's another one, depending on where my list falls here. Chainlink could move up to A, just to be completely honest with you. But right now, like, Chainlink it's not flashy. Chainlink is what it is. It's interoperability between different blockchains and how they function on, transactions and bridges, etc. But it's an essential product. So I think there's things you could absolutely hold that are 100 times worse than Chainlink. But for me, Chainlink would be in that B category. And as I mentioned, anything probably B and up, I'd be comfortable buying. So keep that for what you will. I am not a financial advisor. And out of all of these tokens, I hold Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, BNB, and that's it so far out of these. So we have about 20 more tokens to go here, and we'll give a breakdown and a thesis on every single one of these. Next one up here is Zcash. Zcash, I mean, this thing has been the most popular coin in the last like 3 months. This thing, we look at the yearly chart here. I mean, what an explosion from $48 up to $600 some odd, sitting at the number 18 coin by market cap. But look, like, to me, Zcash, it did a 15x. If it's a coin, you're going to go rush to the bank teller right now and say, hey, I really need to add Zcash to my portfolio. I don't know. I think that's kind of crazy. I'm going to add it to my top of the solid. I do think Zcash is very solid at this point. They've established themselves as probably a long-term top 25, top 50 token after this big run and the privacy narrative and all of that stuff. And to be completely honest with you, maybe it's a better performer than Chainlink and Doge. So yeah, Zcash is going to go to my strong category. I don't know that it's quite the capability. Honestly, it's above Binance as far as strength. Let's just keep it realistic here. BNB does not show as much strength as Zcash. I have to keep it on a realistic basis. I don't hold any Zcash, but if I said it was anything lower than A tier after the last 3 months that it's had, and it's holding at $600, you would have to unfollow me at that point in time. So Zcash is definitely the leader of the A side. This one's going to pain me a lot to say. AVAX, it's literally in my background here. It's one of the products in 2021 that made me really fall in love with actually on-chain like activities. DeFi with Wonderland Time, which was a rug, but at the same time, very fun. Web3 gaming with 𝗓𝗏𝗧, like it was one of the first chains that I really dove deep into the trenches on, and actually played around with tons of applications and just dug my feet in at that time in 2021. But right now, it's crazy to say AVAX is mid. The price action doesn't match what's happened as far as developments. They fired their marketing lead, who I thought was one of the best in all of crypto. They came out with all these partnerships, but it's done nothing for the price action. And as much as it upsets me to say, I think AVAX belongs in the mid category. That's just what it is. As a token perspective, keeping it non-biased, like my thesis on AVAX was incorrect. With the amount of adoption that was coming through, top tier games like Gunzilla, they had BlackRock, they had all these big partnerships. It just did not materialize to price action. And as a token specifically, Avalanche is mid, and that's just where it is, unfortunately. And I mean, coming from me, that says a lot because I was super, super, super bought into what they were doing. It just never materialized into price action at this point in time. We have 𝗬𝗏. 𝗬𝗏, I'm going to put at the top of mid. I think same kind of thing. Like 𝗬𝗏 has everything you need to pump a token, but they fell short in every avenue. There's too many, back-end tokens that nobody knows what's going on with. We take a look at the dilution. I mean, it's 3x diluted. And I mean, the price has been hanging at this high $1 level and could easily break all-time highs around $4 or $5 if the market did turn around. Full disclosure, I still hold Avalanche. I still hold 𝗬𝗏, but they have been performing like mid tokens. And if I was coming into crypto today, January 12th, 2026, 𝗬𝗏 and Avalanche would probably rank in my mid category. Just keeping it 1,000% realistic. I'll move AVAX above Cardano just because more happens on Avalanche. Tron has much more of a stablecoin presence than anything else here. So I'll go 𝗬𝗏 in the mid section, which pains me to say because I do really love products and the chains that are 𝗬𝗏 and Avalanche. But realistically speaking, they're two that if they pump, I would probably have no problem cutting them out of my overall portfolio. Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu, the darling of the meme coin cycle in 2021. Look, why are people going to come in and buy SHIB now? I just don't really understand where that's going to come from. I mean, that narrative's come and gone, in my opinion. It's nowhere near the strength of Doge, but it's not a rug. Like, F is rug. Like, I'm going to put it in D. So D stands for weak. So, I think that there's still worse coins to buy, but why in the heck is Shiba Inu going to catch a pump like it did in 2021? Unless it's like a Zcash situation or meme coins really pop off and people just start buying the dinosaur meme coins. But for me, I think SHIB will start us in the category of weak tokens. Next up is HBAR. HBAR is definitely in the A category for me. I think HBAR is one of the better overall products, RWA kind of integrated tokens in the space. I'll put it even above BNB. I think like for a normal participant, I think there's maybe more upside in holding HBAR than there is upside multiple wise than BNB. So I do think HBAR belongs in that A category, and I'm going to keep it there. I think that that's definitely a fair value assessment of where it belongs. Next up is 𝗏. You guys know I freaking love 𝗏. I mean, this is the #1 AI token by a mile. We have Barry Silbert, which is all in on 𝗏. He was super early on Bitcoin. And then Raoul Pal was saying he also believes that 𝗏 will end up being a very, very good investment. And I just think it's the interoperability layer of AI on chain. If you want to build an AI product utilizing some of the best blockchain technology that AI has to offer, you come build it with 𝗏. 𝗏 to me is absolutely an A tier token. I'm gonna go as bold to say I'm gonna put it above HBAR, but that's just me. Like I know HBAR has a crazy community. I'm putting XRP in the S. I'm gonna keep HBAR in the A tier, but I do think 𝗏, in my opinion, given the narrative of AI, I think it's stronger than HBAR and BNB, especially for a new participant. If you're coming into the space, I think that 𝗏 is one of the must-buy tokens, okay? Absolute must-buy. For me, I'd really like to put it in front of Zcash, but, I don't know. That's kind of a bold move. I'm going to keep it there for now because this is my list. This is my list. If I'm coming in from high risk to lower risk, I'm probably going to put A as the leader as 𝗏. I think that 𝗏 definitely has earned their right to that spot on this tier list. Aether, unfortunately, a weak token. Aether had this massive investment, like a company coming in, putting together like a $500 million digital asset treasury backed on Aether. And once that happened, the price has just been absolutely abysmal. Aether's a weak token. I don't really see any other way about it. Fetch, or AKA artificial super intelligence, I'm going to put this in the B tier. I think it's a solid coin. If you want AI exposure, definitely worse things you could do. And honestly, same thing with Render and same thing with Virtual. I think that all of them are okay. I think that Virtual is closer to mid, maybe. Or maybe even Render's closer to mid. I'm not sure. I'll go Render mid because Render has had not the best PA over the last little while. But in my opinion, Virtual, they do things that pump the token. So for me, like Virtual could be on that back half of solid. And then Fetch, I think, yeah, they're the conglomerate of three of the biggest projects in AI crypto. Singularity, Ocean, and Fetch is now artificial super intelligence. I think that there's definitely, projects that are worse to invest in at this point in time. Honestly, I'm going to go Virtual's top of mid, because they are super seasonal. They come out with some Ponzi type of update and they pump the token, but it's just, it's very seasonal. So I'm going to put it in mid. And then if we're ranking it, I'm going to probably have to put it near the back end of mid. Same thing with render, but yeah, that's probably a more proper ranking there at this point in time. I also noticed, for some reason, Hyperliquid is not here, but now it is. Okay, so Hyperliquid, we'll go ahead and rank Hyperliquid because it's one of the one elite tokens that is missing at this point in time. I'm going to put it in elite. I think that Hyperliquid, when you look at their numbers, the app revenue, they've done 1.1 million in revenue over the last 24 hours. Let's just take a look at some of their competitors, okay? Some people thought Lighter was a better product. Well, let's just see here. Over the last 24 hours, you know, Lighter has made $67,000, so 20 times less. That's not a competitor. That's just a smaller scale Hyperliquid wannabe project. That's my opinion. Even when it comes to Aster, which I do like a little more than Lighter, they've only done like 25% of the revenue. I mean, the king of this category is absolutely Hyperliquid, and I'm going to put Hyperliquid in the S tier. If you want to get in on a revenue-driven company that puts money back into buying their own product every single day, utilizing 75% plus of the fees that they're making, and they're making some of the most money in all of crypto, this has to be in the elite category. Absolutely, no questions about it. 𝗘𝗃𝗲 is an interesting one. 𝗘𝗃𝗲 had a crazy run about mid 2024. Let me find 𝗘𝗃𝗲. It's around here somewhere. 𝗘𝗃𝗲. Let's see. 𝗘𝗃𝗲. I know it's on this watch list. There it is. So 𝗘𝗃𝗲 had a crazy run about mid 2025. But ever since their mainnet came out around this area, it's basically been in a free fall, but it's consolidated in the 20 cents range for about 60 days at this point in time. I think that this one probably also goes in the mid category. It's one I think that will resurge and have another narrative and have another pump. Their founder is brilliant. And I don't think it's a tokenomics issue. I don't think it's a product issue. I think that 𝗘𝗃𝗲 is a great overall token and project, but I'm just not confident that it's going to surpass anything in the B or A or S tier. That's the problem with it. And I'm super bullish on 𝗘𝗃𝗲. Like, I'm someone who probably bought too much at the time that I bought. I had to scale down that bag quite substantially just to risk mitigate. And I do think we'll eventually see another run from it, but I think realistically speaking, it belongs in that C tier category. And I'll be realistic. I mean, Cardano is a higher quality altcoin than 𝗘𝗃𝗲 is. And I mean, probably AVAX too. So I'll keep that objective at that point in time. But I do still like 𝗘𝗃𝗲. It's just one of those that has really fallen off the narrative. IMX. So these next few that we're going to rank are gaming coins, and these are painful. And I know a lot of people on this channel fell in love with the content here or fell in love with the crypto gaming industry because of, initially it was what I really thought was, and alongside a bunch of other people, I thought that narrative would legitimately be one of the biggest that we have ever seen in crypto. And I'm going to speed rank these things. IMX. IMX is a mid token. I'll give it that. It's actually one of the more stable gaming coins over all of this. It's still valuated at $500 million. Some of these things have been absolutely decimated in price. And I think that IMX is a mid token. I really think that there's way worse things you can hold in crypto, even if you're just still holding IMX. Now, this is where we're going to have a problem. Beam is weak. They've really done nothing for their product, nothing for their ecosystem for the last 12 months, and it's come to a complete halt, it feels like. So Beam, their nodes just absolutely killed people, including myself. One of the worst things I've invested in, the ROI is 0.001% every month. So for me, Beam is absolutely in the D tier. Ronin, tough. I mean, okay, before I rank Ronin, I do just want to go to the price action. Like, we're talking objectively here. I don't care about adoption. I don't care that they have some of the most successful apps in all of crypto gaming. History doesn't matter to me at this point. We're talking about now. And from last year, $1.93 to today at 13 cents. That is a 95% drop. There is no way that that ranks anything above weak. It's not a rug. Like, it's still worth 100 mil. 𝗔𝗄 is actually one of the best founders in all of crypto, but I think they're struggling to find PMF in a market that is unforgiving for gaming coins. And now you might be wondering, well, okay, Ronin is a better product than IMX, so how is IMX a C tier whenever, Ronin, the best ecosystem in crypto gaming, is in the higher tier? Look, simply put, this is only down 70. It's only down 70% this year. When we look at the alt chart, I mean, we had this huge run the last time that gaming caught a bid. I mean, this thing did very well. I mean, IMX, I think, is just a more stable investment, to be completely honest with you. You might get more upside out of Ronin, and I think IMX's product and ecosystem is arguably, you could say, trash. But the token itself has simply performed. And maybe I am being too nice. Let's just let's put it at the top of the weak tier. It's a weak token, okay? Even putting it at mid was generous at that point in time. Xborg. Xborg, absolutely a solid token. I can't even... Xborg has more reason for me to buy it than Sui, Tron, Cardano, AVAX, Kita, Render, Virtual, all of that. They have legitimate partnerships with esports organizations. They're doing buybacks. They have a perps product coming out. They make revenue. They're a profitable business. They're backed by Swissborg. On a complete basis of just logic, it is a solid token. And that's just how it is. It's crazy to say that a $17 million market cap coin, or whatever it is now, let's see. $13 million market cap coin, I think is actually above some of these other coins. I legitimately do think that. And if you want gaming exposure, that's the only token on this entire list that I would care to invest in, which is why it's going to be at the back of the B tier. If you want a gaming coin, if you're coming to this channel for crypto gaming, that's the only gaming coin that I think has real volatile to the upside potential if we do see a big alt season. Prime, Echelon Prime, weak. I mean, completely and utterly weak. Ever since their Wayfinder app came out, it feels like nothing's happening. Arguably, in my opinion, like, yes, Parallel and their ecosystem, they're still doing stuff, but man, this thing probably could be in the F tier by the lack of updates. Like, they have done what feels like nothing in their products and games for quite some time. Guns, how can we say anything else other than weak? I mean, this was the most promising gaming token to ever come out, and to be completely fair with you, it was one of the biggest disappointments of tokens in all of 2025. There was no upside. US users can't even trade inside the game. No crypto people even play this game anymore. A very sad state of development, but it is what it is. Gala. Gala's a rug. Like, Gala's a rug. They were buying jets with company funds. The founders were suing each other. Games were leaving their ecosystem. They bought Shrapnel, which is an outright rug. They're backed by the CCP now. This is a rug. Do not buy Gala Games in 2026. And we're almost done here. We only have 5 tokens left here on this list, guys. So if you're enjoying the content, you have comments, questions, leave them down below, like the video, and subscribe to the channel for more. ONDO. I think ONDO's solid. I'll probably put it at the top of solid. I mean, it is probably the #1 RWA token, hands down, not even an argument. But for me, like, let me look at the price action really quick before I full-blown categorize in that section. Analytics, tokens. By the way, if you're not using Nexus, this is an app that me and my team built. You can jump in, use it for free, or if you want a little more in-depth information, there is a paid tier as well. Let's see, ONDO. The ONDO Civic. Let's see. Yeah, that price action is rough though. That's what I thought. Like, what has been heralded as the #1 RWA token has not really performed that well. I'll put Chainlink in front of it. I still think from a logic perspective, it's probably better than Doge, but also logic doesn't really matter in crypto sometimes. So I'm going to put it in the middle of the B tier. I know there's probably going to be some ONDO maxis who come through here and tell me, oh, you're an absolute idiot. ONDO is the future of RWAs on chain. But price action tells me Doge is stronger, Chainlink is stronger, BNB, HBAR, Zcash, TAO, Hype, Sol, XRP, ETH, Bitcoin. Those are all stronger tokens. They can shoot me down if they want to, but that's just how it is. I mean, same thing, like HBAR has a diehard community. I'm putting them in A. They're going to be like, oh, if XRP's A or S, we should be S. But I do think XRP has legitimately earned S tier in crypto. Everyone knows what Ripple and XRP is, even normies, and it is still here. It's strong. Whenever the market rips, it rips. Kill me if you want, but XRP is probably an S tier token. 4 more here. 𝗓𝗡𝗄𝗏, another one. I need to look at the price action because 𝗓𝗡, I think from a pure meme, 34% this month. And from a pure meme perspective, like if someone is coming to buy a meme coin because they relate to the meme coin, the 𝗓𝗡 meme is arguably one of the most popular memes of all time. So for me, 𝗓𝗡, I would buy 𝗓𝗡 all day before I buy Shiba Inu, right? I mean, I'm just saying, I'd probably put 𝗓𝗡, who am I kidding? Above AVAX, in the middle of ADA and AVAX. Like, 𝗓𝗡 has cultural relevance in crypto. I think 𝗓𝗡 is going to perform better as far as multiples than Shiba, but I can't say it's anything more than a mid token. Like, I think that that's probably pretty fair. But, you know, talking about money flow and performance, I think that 𝗓𝗡 probably lands in the mid tier and honestly could outperform a lot of the things sitting above it. Even if we just look at the 1-year chart, like this thing really does well. Like the market here was terrible ever since 1010. So you can't even fault for that. But to be honest, like 𝗓𝗡's done its thing over the course of time. And like I said, it's one of the more culturally relevant memes of all time. So I'm going to say 𝗓𝗡's in that mid tier, maybe even put it above 8. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with that. Kill me if you want to, but 𝗓𝗡 probably goes above 𝗬𝗏. All right, I'm not going to be insane here, but you get me. I think 𝗓𝗡 legitimately could lead this list like pretty easily. And then if we were to look at Tron's price action, I think it's on my list here from the Tron meme fiasco days. Yeah, but Tron deserves that spot. 𝗏𝗏, yeah, I'm cool with that. All right, be realistic, hustle. Now I'm just talking to myself here for a second. Be realistic. You're gonna put it behind ADA where it was. That's much more fair. Okay, Trump rug, absolutely hands down. Rug. There was no reason for Donald Trump to launch a meme coin other than a bunch of on-chain trendsters getting rich in one day. And you know, we got lucky to be able to get in early on Trump, which was awesome, but it is a rug, straight up. Fartcoin, look, honestly, I'll put it in the middle by 𝗓𝗡. Fartcoin is going to be one of those coins that's going to pump randomly for absolutely no reason, and people are going to say hot air rises. Like it's just got good cultural appeal behind it. Like it's just as weird as it sounds. And then MOG, I'd probably go MOG like same area to be honest. Like, and recency aside, or historics aside, let's just go look at the MOG token. There it is, MOG. Still sitting over 100 mil for the 1 year chart. 1 year chart's definitely a little bit rough, but that little resemblance of altcoins running around Bitcoin all-time highs did bring this thing from the 2.8 level all the way up. I mean, it did a 10x here. Like, MOG's probably in that same category as a 𝗵𝗡 fart coin or a MOG or a 𝗵𝗡 and fart coin. I think MOG belongs right in that same area, to be completely honest with you, because sometimes logic isn't a factor in investing, and that's just how it is. This is what I'm rolling with. In 2026, I think really the only stuff that you should be actively deploying crazy capital into are S tiers, A tiers, and B tiers, which is only 14 tokens. Everything below it, there's 19 ranked below it. I think you can buy seasonally, which comes down to my message of preserve some stable coins for opportunities. We've seen over the last 12 months even, we saw Tron meme coins, BNB meme coins. We saw a Sui run. We saw ADA have a little bit of a run. We've seen Zcash run. We saw Aster pop off. We saw Kita have a big narrative. MOG did a 10x in the middle of the year. Like, there's short-term opportunities to capitalize. Me ranking these tokens in the C to F, except for the Fs, like, these could all have short-term runs. So this goes back to our portfolio video, and it goes back to the 10 lessons that I want to instill this year for crypto to come out profitable is make sure you're invested in your top bags. Like Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, Sol, Hype, TAL, Zcash, HBAR, BNB, etc. Make sure you have spot of those so you're allocated, let those play out. But also preserve like 25% of your portfolio in stable coins so you can catch these runners, right? So you can catch a Trump coin, an Aster, all these different things. Right now in the market, White Whale, the meme coin, it's like 200 mil, which is crazy to say. But in general, I do think that should be your philosophy. All of these coins in the mid section, for example, they'll probably have a season this year, but you just need to have the capital to catch them. And I don't think they're the best tokens to simply hold your money in throughout the whole course of the year. But these are my token rankings heading into 2026. And really B and up is where my portfolio lies. I do have small positions of some in the C tier. Otherwise, I think that you should be prioritizing strength in 2026 and not speculation. And on top of that, just preserve some stables so you can take advantage of shorter term opportunities. So guys, that's it for today's video. Like the video down below, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts. If I'm an idiot for some of my coin rankings, if I'm brilliant for my coin rankings, I want to hear every single angle. And I'll see you guys on the next video. As always, play well, my friends, trade responsibly, and stay bullish, my friends.